Business conditions in the country improved at the strongest pace in 4 months as data for March signaled a second consecutive pickup in the rate of improvement in the health of the UAE's non-oil private sector. The results of the Emirates NBD Purchasing Managers Index for March were mainly driven by sharper rises in output and new orders, while total new work increased more quickly in spite of a renewed fall in exports. Both employment and input stocks remained in growth territory, but the respective rates of expansion eased slightly. On the price front, input costs rose only modestly, meaning that companies were able to reduce their tariffs amid greater competition. Adjusted for seasonal factors, the headline UAE Purchasing Managers Index, which is a composite indicator of the non-oil private sector economy, climbed to a 4-month high of 54.5 in March, up from 53.1 in February. The latest figure indicated that growth had continued to rebound from January's near 4-year low, although the improvement in business conditions across the final quarter was the weakest on average since Q1 2012. Growth of the non-oil private sector as a whole was supported by higher output and new work during March. In particular, output rose at the quickest rate since last September, helped by enhanced marketing efforts and incoming new projects. Employment in the UAE's non-oil private sector increased further in March, extending the current sequence of job creation to 51 months. Prices data pointed to subdued cost pressures in March, with the rate of input price inflation only modest overall, despite accelerating to the fastest so far in 2016. Abu Dhabi Securities Exchange has announced that the disclosure percentage of its listed companies has reached 92.3% for the annual financial results for the year 2015. The companies achieved this percentage within the specified legal time limit of 90 days as of the end of the financial period. 60 out of the total 65 of the exchange's local and foreign public joint stock companies have been committed to this percentage. The statement added that when comparing the annual financial results of the listed companies for the year 2015 with those of 2014, the exchange observed that they have decreased by 6.30%. The highest rate of increase was detected in the real estate field, which reached 44.28%, followed by the services sector with a percentage of 22.06%. It was also added that there would be more commitment in the future to increase this percentage to benefit the public interest, which seeks to achieve more disclosure and transparency in financial markets. JW Marriot Marquis Dubai has posted their 2015 year-end results, indicating a strong growth with the revenues increasing by 13%. Despite challenging global economic conditions and increased supply of hotel rooms in the UAE market, the general manager of the hotel, Bill Keffer, stated that the property also witnessed a 12% increase in demand last year. While average occupancy rates remained around 73%, it was added that the hotel achieved 100% occupancy levels at 45 different occasions throughout the year. As a result of the increased revenue, it was announced that overall profit levels have reached above 40%. As per the figures, the hotel witnessed a 17% rise in group bookings in the year 2015 compared to the year before, while it already has 65% of 2016 groups booked. Without revealing the full figures, the general manager also stated that they have also witnessed a positive performance in the first quarter of 2016, including a double-digit growth in the F&B sector. It was added that non-room revenue through the F&B offerings has contributed around 45% towards the increased overall revenue, adding that by summer of this year, they will have a total of 16 F&B outlets.
We just finished up our numbers and we're tying up our P&L statements as we speak, but we are showing positive results for Q1 for January, February, March, not only in our revenue piece, but also in our rate growth index. Food and beverage, we've had phenomenal numbers in Q1, 10% growth over last year. So we're very pleased with the start of the year. We've got a super sales team, not only just at this hotel, but we have a cluster sales organization as well as a global sales organization that is constantly out there promoting the Marriott brand. And I think with the brand loyalty, our rewards program, those type of things, it continues to deliver new guests and more guests and repeat guests to the hotel. From an F&B piece, I think we've relatively new in the market. We've finally gained some traction We have award-winning restaurants. We just wrapped up 5 awards with Time Out. Food and Travel Magazine, we just picked up 2 more awards. So I think that type of recognition just really serves to create more brand awareness, and we're reaping the benefits of that as we grow and our revenues continue to grow.
According to the general manager, excellent growth is coming from source markets like the US, UK, India and China, while they were prepared for the current slowdown of tourism from Russia. Looking ahead, it was added that increased connectivity of Emirates airline with China is expected to further drive the Emirates hospitality sector.
Well, I was very fortunate. I missed the whole Russian market thing because when we entered the market, the Russian market had already started its decline, so we didn't really feel that too much. But I think, my message is really nothing new than what DTCM is saying and other analysts in the area is China and India are going to be our key drivers for Dubai going forward. You've got half the world's population within a 5 or 6 hour plane flight to Dubai. And I think our direction is we're going to be out, we're going to be working more in those source markets, building those relationships, and finding more things that we can do to attract business to Dubai going forward. Well, I think what you have to realize is there's a lot of doom and gloom out in the market, but the reality of it is, even as bad as things seem to be, we're still outperforming most of the international markets in the world. We're still running in a market that's going to run close to 80% occupancy for the year. So I think it's really just about a matter of hotels adjusting and getting more realistic expectations on what they can expect going forward.
As oil still contributes around 60 to 80% of the budgets in the GCC region, top CEOs and business leaders from across the region attending the first edition of the Top CEO Conference in Dubai highlighted that diversification is the new game for companies in the region. During a session on disruptive leadership at the inaugural Top CEO Conference today, industry experts emphasized the importance of disruptive leadership by stating that business leaders today need to change the way they think, behave and do business, as disruption is already transforming the existing market and industry. It was highlighted that as technology has become cheaper and more accessible, digital revolution is affecting all countries and demographics around the world and disrupting many fields of business. This comes at a time when major technological advancements are changing the way businesses are done, and in the regional context, when economies in the GCC are moving away from oil. Some studies suggest that automation of knowledge work will have a potential economic impact of $5 to $7 trillion by 2025, as advances in artificial intelligence and machine learning makes it possible to automate many tasks unthinkable before.
So the topic in question in this, which is the CEOs under a very changing global business environment, I think it's very critical, again, very timely, because we all aware that the global economy is witnessing currently, I don't like to say big problem, but sort of ambiguity about the clear and recovery in the global economy.
I think if you look at challenges exist in different shapes and forms, right? There's geoeconomic issues, there are political issues. There's always something that's happening. Our role is to make sure that we are focusing on a lot of our diversified pool of key source markets to make sure that at any given time we're not overly reliant on one more than the other. So this way it makes it much more, I would say, easier or simpler to attract people from all these different destinations, and also at the same time is to work with not just our partners such as Emirates and Fly Dubai, but also work with the local carriers from those areas to make sure that accessibility to Dubai is as easy as possible.
There are a couple parts of disruptive leadership. One is to understand disruption. It's to understand that technology can fundamentally change a business, the way that happened to Nokia or Kodak or the music industry. But it's not as simple as just, oh, everything could change, because you have to evaluate the threats. When are they coming? It doesn't always happen fast. So it's about monitoring, it's about assessing. And then the second part is, once you think major change is coming, it's about coming up with a strategy for how you're going to transform your own business.
While highlighting that preparation, teamwork and leadership skills are necessary for any major undertaking, the United Nations patron of the oceans, Lewis Pugh, stated that business leaders around the world have to overcome their limiting beliefs, and one way of doing it is having the right set of people with common goals. Emphasizing that the world today needs pioneers rather than followers, the ocean advocate, who is known for his swims in tough environments, including the Antarctic, the North Pole and the Himalayas, shared his personal experiences and stories that inspired him to achieve the impossible.
I think the most important thing is to get a good team around you. I mean, people talk about that so many times, but people often don't talk about, what is it that you're specifically looking for? And I describe the type of people I look for in my teams. I look for people who are can put up their hand and say, I'm one of the best in the world at what I do. You need the very, very best people, obviously, but also look for very, very humble people. When you get that combination between somebody who's very confident on one hand, but very humble on the other hand, where those two meet, you get a special person. I talked about looking for people who are passionate. Passion goes a long way. And then people who are not daydreamers or cynical people, but people who are realistic optimists. You put all those things together, you've got a good team.